In the studio this morning, we have Jeff, who used to be the Vice Consul, or the Consul of Vice, however you'd like to have it, at the British Embassy. And we have Kun Dao, who is the boss, both working now with AMAR. I'm told you can't say AMAR, it has to be AMAR. Now, AMAR is the company that people are finding more and more is the ideal company to deal with when you're organising a funeral. And you're going, oh, no, not funerals. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tommy.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for the invite on today. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
What about you, Kun Dao? You okay?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Dao, you've been with AMAR the longest of the two of you.
Yes, since 2018.
So, what's that, 4 years?
Yes, AMAR is has been set up 4 years, but before it was Alison Monk House.
That's right, Alison Monk House. So you got the same deal that they had. And you specialise in helping people when they pop their clogs, which is an English expression for dying. At the end of the day, we're all going to die, aren't we?
Yes, but you know, I prefer to call that farewell. That I help family arranging the farewell for their loved one. I think it sounds better.
Yeah, it does sound nice, doesn't it? We just say pop their clogs because we're English and we're just like, you know, what do you do with the body kind of thing? It's a very difficult situation to be in. It's a very interesting business, but you're dealing with the bereaved, aren't you?
Yes.
Which has got to be, especially if they're overseas.
Yeah, but we understand because, you know, that they lost someone in a country that people don't speak the same language and they're very emotional, and we understand that. And we are more than happy to assist them.
Give us an idea, just quickly. If somebody uses, because I know that, I know a lot of people, in fact, I recommend your services to everybody because everybody knows what a great job you guys do. You will pick up the remains of somebody who's our dear departed. Has gone.
Yeah.
Our dear departed has gone. And you will arrange to pick him up or her from the hospital or wherever. And they have to go to Bangkok usually to have an autopsy, don't they?
Yes. It's not us who will pick them up to send to Bangkok. It will be a rescue team in Pattaya.
Right.
Because that the autopsy has to be ordered by a police officer.
Right. But you will arrange to pick the body up from Bangkok once they finish doing the autopsy.
Yes.
And then you can arrange to bring them back here or wherever they are in Thailand and organise a funeral in the temple.
Yes.
Most people who live here prefer to have a funeral here, don't they, than be shipped home to their own country?
It's cheaper, I would say, that more and more that I think that Western people, they're not, how can I say, in this, at the same time, they don't cope well with death, not like Thai people, because with Buddhism that we have been taught since we were young that, to accept death, it is something very normal. And but at the same time, when someone passes away, that we would do a big thing about it. But the Western people, they just don't care, that they most of the times they say, oh, that when I die, I don't care, you do what you want with my body.
Yes, a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
but we still try to offer them, a dignified service.
Now, Jeff, you've joined them quite recently, haven't you, after leaving the embassy?
That's right, as recently as June, actually. So I left the embassy. My job was at the consular, so I was dealing with a lot of deaths of British nationals then.
So this is dealing with the other side of what you used to do with when you were
yes.
the British consul.
Although I found one of the toughest things that I found in my former job was bereavement handling, particularly when young people die and all those tragic circumstances.
You've been dealing with that for a long time, because I've known you for a long time. And
yes.
I think that's one of the toughest sides of that job that you had.
Yes, I certainly found it the toughest.
So you're still dealing with it?
Still dealing with it, but in a sort of different guise, really. I think, with an embassy, there are obviously very strict guidelines. And although you do deal with families with empathy and sympathy and all those things and kindness, I mean, one of our sort of company values here is kindness if you can start with kindness, and then of course then comes honesty, integrity.
Absolutely.
And it really reminds me of the interview that Magna Carta did the other day on, it was Tuesday, which I listened to, and I thought that the way that they articulately described with an honest answer to all the questions that were given, very, very concise. That's really what we're looking to be. We want to give trust to people. We want people to have trust in us. And the only way you can do that is to be kind to them, but also to give good communication skills very promptly with factual information. And when you don't know something, you tell them you don't know.
How difficult is it for you guys when you're dealing, because we're going to go to a song in a minute, but before we do, how difficult is it for you guys? You have, first of all, you're not the most popular of phone calls or the most popular of services, let's face it. You call somebody overseas, say in England or America or Australia or Italy, wherever it is, you're organising the funeral for their person, their friend, their family. They have no idea of how systems work here or the culture here. It's got to be a very difficult thing to explain. You must go through the same questions every time.
That's right. Although, a big proportion of the funerals that we do here are for expats. And so normally that expat who's lived here has, over the years that they've been here, managed to give certain flavours of the culture back to their families. That's sort of what we're tending to find. Occasionally, yes, you do deal with someone in the United States this week who didn't have a clue and that their loved one was missing. So we managed to locate their missing person.
Wow.
And they'd already had their loved one buried in, well, they call it a mass grave, but it's not really a mass grave. But this was where that no one claimed the body.
Like a pauper's grave.
It is, yes. But that means it still goes into almost like a storage in a cemetery.
Yeah. All right.
A temple cemetery. It's like a charity organisation with a label, so that if someone does come forward, they can claim it. And this is exactly what happened this week.
Wow.
And so we managed to do one of those this week. And, it's still all tragedy all around this case, but at least they found their loved one.
Now, how many times do you think, or what percentage do you think, when you're dealing with a family in overseas, do they turn around and say, look, we never chose for him to go to Thailand. We're not going to give you any money. Why should we?
Oh.
Do you want to answer that?
It's very often, that...
Really?
Yes. Because most of the time that they told us, that my dad, he left us and that he made his decision to go to Thailand. So you explain to me, why will we have to finance his funeral?
Right.
It's sad to say that most of the time they only want the death certificate, and that now the hospital, they are aware of this. Now, when we collect the primary cause of death at the hospital, many of them force us to take the disease with us straight away because they think, again, another one who just want
they just wanted to get the insurance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cash it in and
That's right.
So they've got a bit of life insurance in the home country.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of all that because, we don't like to turn our back on any cases. So occasionally we have to do pro bono cases, which, no business wants to do. But at the same time, we're in the business of doing the right thing.
You do an awful lot of business here in Pattaya.
Yes, most of our clients, I think that prepaid clients, they are from Pattaya.
Right, so I want to talk just for first of all, if somebody wants to get a price idea, if somebody just wants to have a quick chat with you and find out how it works, if somebody's just at the beginning of thinking of making a plan, what's your website address?
It's www.amarinternational.com.
AMARinternational.com.
Yes.
And that will take them straight to your website.
Yes.
Now, you were talking before the commercials. We were talking, and you came out with something which was very surprising. The number of people that you deal with, family, back in their home countries, that are not interested.
No.
They don't want to pay. They'd like to have a copy of the birth certificates. They're claiming insurance.
Yes.
But they don't want to pay. So you do actually have this program, which I've already got with you, where you pre-plan and prepay for your funeral so that you can decide, you, the listener, can decide what you want for your funeral. If you want a particular song playing, if you want somebody speaking, if you want this, if you want that, what kind of box you want, everything. You can plan that with you, right, in advance.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, it can be very prescriptive as well. And, and commercially, a lot of people will think, you just want to get our money, then, put it in the drawer and 10 years time I die. But it's actually more about the plan. I mean, we have prepaid contracts signed with people who haven't paid any money yet. But the main thing they do have is a contract that we can adhere to. Okay, yes, when the time comes, then we will want money from the next of kin. We also have prepaid contract plans where there's like a standing order, or not even a standing order, just sums every month. If
what the Americans call a layaway plan, where you're paying a little bit every month until it's paid off. That's a good idea.
That's right. But the most important thing really is to have a plan, because I mean, in our jobs,
it's no good. Sorry. But when we're talking to lawyers and we find out, and with hospitals and everything else, you can have a plan that's signed by somebody, but if they haven't paid, it's unenforceable, because the minute they're dead, they're no longer responsible for that document, and you still have to get approval from the family, or their successors, their heirs, have now got to approve it.
That's
even
true.
though he signed that piece of paper with you.
That's very true. As soon as you die,
So it's a pretty good idea to pay for it first.
Well, it is, yes. But I mean, I think the main thing is a plan. If there is some sort of script as to how the sort of, the farewell is,
right,
at least we have an idea, the next of kin has an idea.
How much is a standard funeral in Thailand?
It's 44,000 baht for paperwork, everything, with a very simple Buddhist ceremony with 4 monks. And that from this basic package, people can add in, the Christian blessing or Christian ceremony at the church.
That's nothing. You pay more than that for the box in England. I'm just telling you,
Yes.
you do, because I've been through it. You've been through it as
Yes.
well. It's prices for funerals in the UK are horrendous. If you were to pay that off and you've signed a document saying, this is what I want, then when you go to the family and the daughter or the son or the nephew says, I'm not interested in him, he ran away, he left us, I don't care. By the way, have you got a copy of the death certificate so I can claim the insurance? You can say it's paid for.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so then they're going to say, it's good to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You are also arranging the movement of bodies around the world, people who want to have their bodies shipped home, aren't you?
Yes, we do.
And you've actually handled several high-profile cases.
Yes.
Yes, we have a very famous cricketer.
Very famous cricketer back to Australia quite recently.
That's
and the only
right.
reason I know that isn't you told me, but I spotted Koon Dow in the video.
Oh, yes.
It was very, very well. It was very well organised, because it must be very difficult with people like that, where you've got the media trying to squeeze in and take pictures and stuff.
Oh, it was very hard, because when we transfer from Koh Samui to Bangkok, we had to be escorted by the police.
Right.
And, yes, and it was the police of each province. And everything.
Ooh, VIP.
Yes, and that everything need to be secret and everything. And at the airport,
Brilliant.
it was difficult.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question just really quickly, because we're pushed for time, as we always seem to be. The other package that you're just introducing now is the package for people who aren't dead yet, which is rather nice, actually, for the people who don't want to die just yet. Elderly care, which is always a concern for people. There's two kinds of elderly. There's the expat who becomes unable to live on their own and hasn't got anybody living with them and needs care. And then there's the person in the UK who wants to come to Thailand because it's less expensive for care. And I can understand that, because my mother, 93, has a carer go and see her for 2 hours a day, and I think the bill is £20,000 a year, which is $1 million baht. So you've organised this program now for people who need care. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is CM Elderly Care, which is actually a different company, but we work them both together. So this is really built on demand, and the fact that in Thailand, care homes have really evolved in quality and medical care over the years. And the actual, when you start doing the maths, it turns out that it's probably about 4 times cheaper to go into a care home here. And then most of the care homes here are built, they look like spa resorts, a lot of them, and so there is a lot of appetite from, in particularly America, for some reason, of people that, in fact, there was one person last week who's never been outside of America, but he wants to come to a care home here to end his days.
Right.
So we offer that as well. We are the ones in the middle that facilitate that, because it avoids the families making direct contact to the care homes, because those care homes are up and running. And this was actually a project that was started at the British Embassy to compile a list of care homes that had to fulfill international standards. And they had to obviously be spread around geographically around Thailand.
And you're doing that for yourselves now. You're working as an agency for them.
Yeah, sort of, yes. I mean, we never set it up as a sort of business to make a lot of money or anything like that, because we just want to help people come to Thailand and save themselves some money and be part of that process.
Yes, and and what is very important is that we don't receive any commission from nursing home because we try to be
independent.
Yes, independent in the decisions. So we receive money from family.
Okay, so you charge the customer a percentage.
Yes.
You're not so you're working totally for the customer and not for the homes.
Yes,
that's right.
Which is a really good point.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we don't go chasing money up. You
must have seen some good homes. You must have seen some crap ones as well.
Seen one or two not so good.
Yes. Yeah.
But we've seen some fantastic ones where I wouldn't mind checking in tomorrow. I'm in my 60s now.
What kind of feature do you find in these places when say I'm not old, but say Megan, because she's a lot older than me, and we have to put her in a home. He's like, we're going to put Dad in a home, and we want to somebody wants to put their person, or they want to put themselves in because they know that they're becoming more incapable. What kind of facilities can I expect when I go to a home here now?
Always a swimming pool. Normally a swimming pool where you can have aqua treatment. Often a restaurant. I mean, your friend's resort, his resort. I mean, he has a gym. Plenty of nurses that are all trained. I mean, we only go with those homes that have met those international standards.
Right.
You have great cooking, one-to-one care, on call 24/7, a good affiliation with the local hospital if things start to go wrong, which they inevitably will when you get older.
And nobody can ask you for a fixed price because everybody's price is different. Every home is different and every patient's needs are different. But from what kind of price does this start? Okay. What would be the least expensive, don't tell me the place, but what would be the least expensive care home that I could go into?
For 45,000 baht per month.
Yeah, that's with all the care as well.
Yes, with the 24 nurse.
24-hour nurse coverage. Yeah.
Yes. With food, 3 meals. With but it doesn't cover medication.
Right, no, because you'd have to have medical insurance for that, wouldn't you?
That's right. Yes. I mean, and that home is actually extremely good. I mean, there was one photograph we took of that home of this customer lying on a sunbed by the swimming pool, and it looked paradise.
With his
there you go, Megan. That'll be you.
Palm trees in the background. But it's important that there's a good affiliation with the hospital, so that if there is an emergency. And that they can really expedite someone to that hospital, because obviously the older you get, the more chance something's going to go wrong. But yeah, that's the package. That's where they start at. I mean, high end, and we're talking now 5-star spa resorts that are just looking like hotels and smelling like hotels. You're talking about 70, 80, 90,000.
Yeah, which is still more than affordable for a lot of people who've got pensions. Yeah, because they don't. It's not like they're going to be going out and about and spending a great deal of cash on other things.
That's right. And I think one thing that I've been particularly impressed with a lot of the homes that we've been dealing with recently is the awareness of dementia and Alzheimer's. That obviously we know in our society it's on the increase. They have really seemed to be on board with that sort of that fact as well.
Now, we've enjoyed having you on the show this morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
We've
learned a lot of things about the way that families react to funerals as well. We hope you'll come back again.
We'd love to. Thank you, Tommy, and thank you, Megan, for putting up with Tommy. It's been a pleasure to be on. And as I say, anybody wants to call us and talk about anything, we can give free advice anytime.